Good morning po sa lahat ng mga kadete nationwide from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, sa lahat po ng instructors, deans, sa lahat din po ng reviewees, mga registered criminologists, anybody listening right now. Welcome po sa pinaka-last po na discussion natin sa subject na evidence. Dito po isa lang natin lahat po ng mga topics na remaining. We will start with the burden of proof. Okay? Episode 5. Episode 5. This is the last episode po. So, those persons who are viewing right now, pagbaguhan pa lang po kayo, kindly go over with episode 1. Do not jump directly to this episode. Okay? So, ano ba ibig sabihin ng burden of proof? This was also mentioned in episode 1. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng burden of proof? Burden of proof is the duty of a party to present evidence on that facts in issue necessary to establish his claim or defense by the amount of evidence required by law. For short, from the word burden. Ano ibig sabihin ng burden? Ito po'y responsibility ng isang party or duty ng isang party to present the evidence in order to establish his claim or defense. Ano ang purpose? Bakit nasa kanya yung duty to present evidence? Kasi nga po, para ma-establish yung claim niya or ma-establish yung defense niya. Ang general ruling po natin sa batas po, anybody who accused has the burden of proof. So, pag ikaw yung complainant, ikaw yung nag-accuse, ikaw yung maglabas ng ebidensya. Yun po. Hindi po ibig sabihin na ikaw yung na-accuse ang maglabas ng ebidensya, yung defense. Hindi po. Ang general ruling po natin huwag kalimutan. Pag ikaw yung nag-accuse, ikaw yung complainant, you accuse somebody of a crime, ikaw yung mag-present ng evidence. Nasa inyo po ang burden of proof to establish your claim that that person committed a crime. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng burden of proof. Now, quantum of proof required in different cases. Again, balik po tayo sa episode 1. Ibig sabihin ng quantum, ito po ay quantity ng proof required in different cases. Ibig sabihin ng proof, mga kadete going back, proof po is the result of the evidence. When a particular evidence reaches the level of credibility, reliability, or believability to the point that the court is convinced that such evidence was able to prove a particular fact, that evidence will transition into becoming a proof. Okay? Ano ba ang quantity of proof in different cases? May tatlong kaso po tayo Una, civil. Pangalawa, admin. Pangatlo, criminal. Okay? Sa civil case, pag nahatulan po ang isang accused, magbabayad siya, 'di ba? Ang penalty dito sa civil case, bayad or fine. Administrative case, pag nahatulan yung accused, ano ang penalty niya? It's either termination from the service, or demotion from the rank, or it could be absolute perpetual disqualification, matanggal siya sa trabaho niya. Ang sa criminal case, pag nahatulan siya ang akusado, ang penalty dito will be imprisonment. Civil case, fine. Administrative case, termination, demotion, or perpetual disqualification. Criminal case, ito yung imprisonment. Okay? Ang quantity of proof required pag civil case, ito yung tinatawag nating preponderance of evidence. Diba? Under episode 1. Sa administrative case, ang quantum of proof required, itong substantial evidence. While in criminal case, ang quantum of proof required, ang kailanganin po is proof beyond reasonable doubt. Again, balik tayo sa episode 1, mga kadete. Anong ibig sabihin ng preponderance of evidence? Sa lahat po ng nag-review, okay? Ibig sabihin, ito po'y greater weight or more convincing evidence. Saan mag-a-apply ang preponderance of evidence? Civil case. Okay? Ibig sabihin, pag ang accused nag-present siya ng evidence, ang complainant nag-present din siya sa kanyang evidence, saan po ba sa kanilang evidence has more weight is more convincing. Ang evidence po na has greater weight or has more convincing will have a will have favor in terms of judgment. Example, let us say nagpresent yung isang complainant ng land title kasi land dispute ito. Land title yung pinipresent sa isang party, complainant. Ang sa accused naman, ang present niya is tax declaration. Deklarasyon na siya na yung nagbayad ng buwis sa lupa na yan. Ang tanong ngayon, which among the two evidence has greater weight or more convincing in terms of the ownership of the land? Una na evidence, land title. Pangalawa, tax declaration. Land title na belonging to the complainant, tax declaration belonging to the defense or the accused. Saan po ba sa dalawa ang mag-prevail? Basically, ang may greater weight is yung titulo, yung land title. So basically, the judgment will favor the complainant kasi nga po siya yung may land title. So pag preponderance, anong ilagay natin sa isip? Saan po ba sa ebidensya ang may greater weight, more convincing? Pag substantial naman, ito na-mention din ito sa episode 1, such relevant evidence as a reasonable mind might accept as adequate to support a conclusion. Ibig sabihin, ang tinutukoy sa substantial evidence would be the sufficiency or the adequacy of the evidence to support a particular conclusion. Saan ba mag-a-apply ang substantial evidence? Mag-a-apply siya, balik tayo, administrative case, pati na po sa quasi-judicial cases. As mentioned in episode 1, mag-a-apply siya sa admin case, pati na po sa quasi-judicial cases. So, pag ang isang ebidensya is considered to be adequate, sufficient po siya, then that evidence is able to reach its substantiality. Ang preponderance, it talks about weight of the evidence. Substantial evidence would mean the adequacy or sufficiency of evidence. Okay, next. Sa criminal case, itong proof beyond reasonable doubt, mga kadete. Ito yung the highest, huwag kalimutan ha, the highest standard of proof. Dito po ay ina-apply ito sa criminal cases. Highest standard of proof, pangalawa, requiring moral certainty that the accused committed a crime. Ang certainty po dito, moral certainty, does not mean perfect evidence. Hindi ibig sabihin perfect evidence. Rather, when we say moral certainty, it means that the evidence is so convincing that a reasonable and unbiased person is firmly convinced that the accused is guilty. I repeat, when we say moral certainty, hindi po ibig sabihin 100% absoluteness of certainty ha. Hindi ibig sabihin 100% absolute certainty. Ang ibig sabihin po ng moral certainty dyan, ito po, ang ebidensya is very convincing that a reasonable and unbiased person is firmly convinced that the accused is really guilty. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng moral certainty dyan. Okay? Pang-apat, ito, clear and convincing evidence. Okay? Evidence more than preponderance siya, but less than proof beyond reasonable doubt. Ibig sabihin, ito yung nasa middle siya. Middle between preponderance is the weight of the evidence, at saka yung proof beyond reasonable doubt. It is the quantum required to prove, huwag kalimutan, ito yung quantity of evidence na kailanganin po to prove that when you commit a crime, insane ka. Okay? Under justifying circumstance, dapat it has to be proven that the accused was suffering from insanity. Or, yung relationship, paternity, or filiation, pareho lang yan. Or, self-defense, among others. What are others? It could be to prove that you are a child. Okay? So, self-defense, defense of strangers, Ito yung kailanganin na ebidensya to prove such factors. Clear and convincing evidence, saan ito ma-apply? To prove that you are, or that the person, or that the accused was insane. To prove about paternity, yung relationship, self-defense, defense of strangers, defense of relatives. To prove that you are a child, among others. Anong ebidensya ang kailanganin? Clear and convincing evidence. Ang clear and convincing evidence is more than preponderance, pero less siya sa proof beyond reasonable doubt. That's very clear. Next. Okay, next. Let us go to examination in open court. Examination in open court, okay? The examination of witnesses presented in a trial or hearing shall be done in open court. Ibig sabihin ng open court, court na open? Hindi. Ibig sabihin ng open court, anybody can witness the whole proceeding. Okay? Anybody can witness. Okay? The whole proceeding. So, the examination of a witness must be in an open court. Under oath, dapat manunumpa siya or affirmation. Unless the witness is incapacitated to speak or the questions call for a different mode of answer, the answer of the witness shall be given orally. Unless if the witness is deaf-mute. Kasi pag deaf-mute yan, may oral, oral answer. That's very impossible. So, it could be made through gestures with an interpreter. Okay? Pero pag normal lang naman, hindi naman siya incapacitated, lahat ng niya dapat orally. If you say orally, dapat he has to answer verbally. Okay? When we say oath or panunumpa, a form of attestation by which a person signifies that he is bound in conscience and that in case he does not tell the truth, divine retribution would follow against him. That is why the person will be holding his right arm will be holding the palm of his right hand will be on top of the Bible. Kasi nga po, ito po'y panunumpa na dapat he will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay? Affirmation, a declaration instead of an oath that a person will tell the truth. Yung pagkaiba sa affirmation at saka sa oath. Affirmation, a declaration instead of an oath that a person will tell the truth. Lahat po ng proceeding natin mga kadete, it has to be recorded. Okay, recorded dapat siya. Lahat ng kung ano yung nasa inter-proceeding. So, anong pamamaraan? Hindi po yung pagsulat na talagang spell out. Shorthand lang yan or stenotype. Sino ang responsible dito? Yung stenographer. Okay? Stenographer. Ito yung very rare na profession na talagang in demand right now, mga kadete. So, if you can study stenography, how to write, using stenography or the science of stenography, I think this is very in demand ngayon sa korte. Okay? Kasi kukunti lang po ang mga stenographer po natin. So, ang transcript of the record of the proceeding shall be deemed prima facie a correct statement of such proceeding. Okay? So, kung ano yung sinasabi mo doon sa korte, it will be recorded by a stenographer. So, ang stenographer on the other hand, kung ano yung sinasabi niya, i-reduce niya into writing through stenotype. Yung stenotype, shorthand siya. It's very difficult to do it. I try to take a look at it how it is being done. Napaka-difficult po ang stenography. Kaya ito in demand gayon. Order in the examination of the witness. Okay, ganito ha. I think this is very easy. Under din po ito sa criminal procedure. Una, direct. Sunod, cross. Sunod, redirect. Sunod, recross. Mga kadete, in chronological order yan ha. Dapat sunod-sunod. Tama po ang pagkasunod-sunod natin ha. Hindi pwedeng we juggle it. Una, direct examination. From direct examination, ang mag-i-examine sa kanya is yung lawyer niya. Okay? Kung sino yung nag-present sa kanya, yun po ang mag-i-examine. For example, if si if si Pedro yung witness, Si Pedro was presented by the prosecution. Ang prosecution, andyan yun, andito yung complainant. Ang lawyer sa prosecution, siya ang mag-i-examine kay Pedro. Okay? Again, ang prosecution or ang complainant na parte, nag-present sila ng witness to prove that it was this guy, that the accused was the one who stabbed the victim. Ang pinipresent na is si Pedro, yung witness. Sa prosecution, may lawyer yan. Ang lawyer, siya yung mag-i-examine, mag-question kay Pedro to prove that this is really the accused who committed the crime. Direct examination po ang tawag doon. Okay? So, direct examination, abogado mo o abogado ng parte at saka yung witness ng parte, sila yung mag-confront doon sa korte. So, pag si Pedro witness sa prosecution, ang prosecution na lawyer ay siya mag-examine kay Pedro. Pag cross, ibig sabihin ng cross, pag si Pedro is a witness of the prosecution, ang lawyer ng defense ay siyang mag-i-examine kay Pedro. Understood po? Again, una direct examination. Si Pedro, witness ng prosecution team. Ang prosecution na lawyer ay siyang mag-i-examine sa kanilang witness. Pag cross-examination, ang lawyer ng kabilang parte ay siyang mag-i-examine kay Pedro. So, pag si Pedro is a witness of the prosecution, pag cross-examination, ang lawyer ng depensa ang siyang mag-i-examine kay Pedro. Okay? After the cross-examination, may mga pagkakataon po na kailanganing i-re-examine yung witness na si Pedro to explain or to supplement his answers given during the cross-examination. So, babalik uli yung lawyer ng prosecution, i-examine uli si Pedro. Ang tawag doon, redirect examination. Natural, ang lawyer ng depensa or yung lawyer ng adverse party, magko-cross-examine sila uli. Okay? So, again, ang tawag doon, recross examination. Una, direct. Pangalawa, cross. Pangatlo, redirect. Pang-apat, recross examination. Yun po ang order natin sa examination of witness. Pero, there are a lot of cases na a witness will be recalled. Tapos ng direct, tapos ng cross, tapos ng na-redirect, tapos ng na-recross. Pero, pinabalik sila uli. Okay, ang tanong ngayon, pwede ba yun? Sagutan natin mamaya. After the examination of a witness by both sides has been concluded, the witness cannot be recalled. Ibig sabihin, hindi pwede siyang pabalikin doon sa korte para ma-examine uli. Pero may exception. Without the leave of the court. Anong ibig sabihin ng without the leave of the court? Ibig sabihin, pwede siya upon the discretion of the korte. Ibig sabihin, ang witness, generally, hindi na po pwede silang i-recall, pabalikin doon sa korte para i-examine uli. Pero may exception. Ano ang exception? Pag mag-allow ang korte. Period. Okay? Pag mag-allow ang korte na i-recall yung witness, pwede yon. Okay? The party who wants to recall the witness must first ask permission from the court. Natural. Kasi nga po, korte ang mag-allow dyan. So, pag ang korte will not allow it, then the witness will not be recalled. Okay? Next, falsus in ono, falsus in omnibus. Ono, beginning. Omnibus, pangkalahatan. Okay? Ang definition dito, ang translation, false in one thing, false in everything. Falsus in ono, falsus in omnibus. Ito po yung principle where on one point, the witness has lied. His testimony upon another points may be disregarded. This is no longer followed in the Philippines. Okay? Ibig sabihin ng falsus in ono, falsus in omnibus, pag mali yung isang detalye, ibig sabihin mali lahat. Pero hindi po natin pina-follow ang principle na ito sa Pilipinas. Pwedeng there are certain areas ng testimony na mali, considered as lying. May mga areas naman considered to be truth. Okay? So, depende po. Again, the modern trend of jurisprudence is to the effect that the testimony of the witness may be believed in part and may be disbelieved in part. Pwede siyang, it can be believable in some part, it cannot be believable in some part. So, depende na po yan sa corroborative evidence, depende na po sa supporting or corroborative evidence and the probabilities po and improbabilities of the case. Okay? So, again, we do not follow this one, ha? Falsus in uno, falsus in omnibus. False in one thing, false in everything. Again, may mga areas po na believable, may mga areas naman po na hindi believable. Depende na po yan sa corroborative evidence to support the statement whether it is true or not. Next, manner of offering of evidence and their objections. Ito, lumabas ito sa criminologist licensure examination. This is very easy. Ang general ruling po natin is that the formal presentation of evidence to the court informing the judge what the evidence is and the specific purpose for which it is being offered. Offer of evidence po ang term na ginagamit. For short, when you say offer of evidence, ito po'y pag-present formally sa ebidensya. Pag ibig sabihin ng offer of evidence, i-present mo yung ebidensya sa korte. Pero again, ang general ruling natin is that una, dapat ang pag-present ng ebidensya should be offered orally. Ibig sabihin, verbal. Okay? You are going to ask to the court, Your Honor, we would like to offer the testimony of so-and-so as evidence to prove blah 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 blah. Okay? Pangalawa, the offer of the testimony of witness in evidence must be made at the time the witness is called to testify. Kailan po ang offer of the testimony of the witness ibigay? At the time the witness is called to testify. Hindi pwedeng before or hindi pwedeng after. It should be made at the time the witness is called to testify. Pero pag documentary, iba siya. Kasi po, pag documentary and object evidence, it shall be made only after the presentation of a party's testimonial evidence. I'd like to repeat and I'd like to put emphasis in this one. Offer of the testimony shall be done at the time the witness is called to testify. Pero pag offer of documentary and object evidence, it shall be done only after the presentation of a party's testimonial evidence. Ibig sabihin, ino-offer ang documentary at saka object evidence pagkatapos na sa testimony ng isang presentation ng testimony ng isang party. Okay? So, pwedeng during questioning, pwedeng mag-object ang lawyer ng kabilang parte. Okay? What is an objection? Objection is the formal protest by a lawyer during a trial to challenge the admissibility of evidence, a question asked to a witness, or a procedure being followed. Bakit ka po nag-o-object? To protest. To protest what? To protest the admissibility of evidence. For example, in terms of documentary evidence, relevant yung evidence, competent yung evidence, pero hindi naman authentic. Hindi naman authentic, so you can object. Pangalawa, question asked to a witness. Let us say the question asked is misleading. So you will say, Your Honor, objection, Your Honor, the question is misleading. Okay? Or a procedure being followed. Let us say the procedure in terms of direct, redirect, cross and recross, automatic, direct examination, nag-redirect siya uli. So it has to follow a step. Or maybe, the witness did not take his oath. He goes directly with the testimonial, with his testimony. So it has to be objected also. Okay? When a particular lawyer will object, ang judge po will make a ruling. Okay? Ang ruling sa objection niya, it could be sustaining the objection or overruling the objection. So, for example, the lawyer will say, objection, Your Honor, the question propounded to the witness is a misleading question. The judge will say, objection sustained. What do you mean by objection sustained? Ibig sabihin, the judge agrees that the question is misleading. So therefore, the witness cannot answer the question. Okay? Pinagbabawalan po ang witness to answer the question kasi nga po, the judge agree that the question is misleading. Okay? But if the judge will say, objection overruled, ibig sabihin, the judge disagree with your objection. So therefore, the witness can answer. Kuha? Pag objection sustained, the witness cannot answer. Pag objection overruled, the witness may answer. Okay? Example, let us say, the lawyer on the adverse party said, objection, Your Honor, the question is misleading. And then the judge ruled, objection overruled. Ibig sabihin, wala, hindi nag-disagree yung judge sa inyong objection, so the witness will answer. But if the judge will say objection sustained, ibig sabihin the witness will answer because the judge or the witness cannot answer because the judge agree that the question is misleading. Okay? Objection to evidence must be made at the time it is formally offered. That's very easy. Okay. Sunod. Talking about leading and misleading questions. I think this is very timely kasi nga po, in the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, this became one of the most controversial areas. In fact, marami pong lawyers na nag-away-away, nagpo-post sa social media about leading and misleading questions. We will try to decipher the difference between the two. A leading question is a question that suggests the desired answer to a witness. Ibig sabihin, ang tanong po ay nagsasuggest ng answer to a witness. For example, do you agree with me that the accused was holding a gun when the crime happened? So it's a leading question because it suggests that the accused was really holding a gun. Okay? Is it true that the victim was being punched 3 times? It's basically giving an idea that the victim was being hit 3 times by the accused. So, leading question po siya. Iba ang leading, iba yung misleading. Leading question muna tayo. Under the rules on evidence, leading questions are generally not allowed on direct examination. Klaro yan, Brad. Napaka-clarix. Anong ibig sabihin dyan? Pag ikaw yung lawyer ng prosecution, tapos ikaw yung kayo yung nag-present ng inyong sariling witness, ay bawal po ang magbibigay ng leading question to your witness. Okay? Unless if it is a cross-examination. For example, let us say again, let's go back. Si Pedro, witness siya sa prosecution. Okay? Ang lawyer sabi ng lawyer to Pedro, when the crime was committed, is it true that the victim was been shot 10 times? It will suggest the answer that the killing was actually 10 times yung pagbaril, 10 times yung pagputok ng baril. Basically, it gives the idea to the witness. Ang question na yan is leading. Bawal po yan kasi nga po, ikaw na lawyer ka, parte kayo sa prosecution na nag-present sa inyong sariling witness. Pero pag cross-examination, let us say, ang defense na lawyer, nag-cross-examination kay Pedro, pwede po ang tanong na yan. Pwede po ang leading question po. Permitted po ang leading question during cross-examination. I repeat, ang leading question is not allowed during direct examination, pero allowed siya during cross-examination. I already give you an example a while ago. Pangalawa, pwede din po ang leading question if the witness is considered to be a hostile witness and on preliminary matters. Dito lang ako mag-concentrate sa hostile witness. Leading question is allowed po if the witness is known to be hostile. Alright? Kaya si Attorney Ligotan, when the Special Disbursing Officer of Sara Duterte was called for a witness stand, and the witness was been presented by the prosecution themselves, but the witness was considered by the presiding officer as a hostile witness. Sinabihan si Attorney Ligotan, Attorney Ligotan, you can ask leading question because your witness is a hostile witness. Sir, clarification, sabi mo kanina bawal po yun pag direct examination. Oo, sabi ko kanina ang leading question po is bawal po yun during direct examination. Pero pag ang isang witness is a hostile witness, pwede ka pong, exemption yon, pwede ka pong magbigay ng leading question even if the witness belongs to your party. Kasi nga po, hostile siya eh. Pero pag hindi hostile witness yung witness mo, ay hindi pwede ang leading. Kasi nga, direct examination eh. Okay? Ang tanong ngayon, what is a hostile witness? Sa lahat po ng mga law students dyan, dapat alam nyo na po ito ha. What is a hostile witness? Refers to a person called to testify who displays open bias against the party that called them. Ibig sabihin, ikaw yung prosecution, for example, nag-present kayo ng sariling witness nyo na si Pedro. Pero ang nangyari, it has been found out that Pedro displays open bias against the prosecution that presented him in court. Ibig sabihin, parang bumaliktad. Bumaliktad siya, bawal siya eh. Supposedly, ikaw yung ikaw yung nag-present sa kanya sa korte, pero ang nangyari, binaliktad ka. Okay? Nag-display siya ng bias against sa inyo na parte. Dapat his testimony should be in favor to your party, pero ang nangyari, naging bias siya eh, against your party. So, ano ang ruling ng korte? Magiging hostile witness siya. Okay? So, say for example, in the case of the impeachment of Sara Duterte, I'd like to put it into discussion na the special disbursing officer was actually an employee of Sara Duterte. Coterminous yung employment. Ibig sabihin, pag mawala si Sara Duterte, ma-terminate din po siya. Coterminous eh. So, special disbursing officer siya. Ang special disbursing officer was presented by the prosecution. Ang accused dito, ang respondent dito, si Sara Duterte. Ang prosecution, ang complainant na side. Ang nag-present ng witness doon sa korte was the prosecution. Pero ang nangyari, bias. Bakit bias? Kasi yung supervisor ng SDO or Special Disbursing Officer was Sara Duterte. Natural, if the person is your superior officer, natural yung respeto mo po, yung allegiance mo or loyalty belongs to your superior. Okay? So, pag tinanong doon, yung SDO, nung tinanong siya, may mga may mga anomalya ba sa transaction? And the SDO stated, I will not confirm that those transactions were unauthorized. I believe the Vice President acted properly. So, yung testimony, yung statement niya is against the prosecution kasi ang purpose ng prosecution is really to establish that there were anomalies in the spending of the confidential fund. Pero here comes the witness presented by the prosecution. She was not confirming that there was anomaly. But in fact, she was saying that the Vice President acted properly and all transactions were considered to be authorized. Okay? So again, kailan magiging hostile witness siya? Pag ang party nag-present sa kanya, pero yung testimony niya is biased against the party that presented him or her. Hostile witness po ang tawag ha. Okay? Next. Tingnan natin ang examples of leading questions. Okay? Very easy. You saw the defendant hold the knife, correct? That's a leading question. Why? Because again, you are suggesting to the person or to the witness that the accused was really holding a knife. So, mag-object ngayon ang kabilang party. Objection, Your Honor, the question is leading. O pag direct examination yan, bawal yan. So, the court will say or the judge will say, objection sustained. So, ano yung ibig sabihin? I-rephrase mo yung tanong kasi po, pag objection na sustained, hindi po magsasagot yung witness. So, i-rephrase mo yung tanong. What if anything did you see in the defendant's hand? Ano ba nakikita mo sa defendant's hand? That's basically neutral. Okay po yun, pasok yun. Pangalawang example, how fast was the red car speeding when it smashed into the truck? Ibig sabihin, you're already suggesting to the witness na talagang ang bibilis ng takbo ng red car. So, mag-object yung other party. So, i-refresh mo yung tanong, how would you describe the speed of the red car? Ayun po. Yung bias na ito yung mga leading questions. I-rephrase mo para maging acceptable ito yung mga neutral. Okay? When leading questions are not allowed, ito yung sabi ko kanina, direct examination at saka redirect examination. I'm sorry. Bawal po siya during direct examination at redirect examination. Pwede siya doon sa cross-examination or if the witness is hostile. O yan, andyan na po. When leading questions are allowed. Kailan po maging allowed? During cross-examination, pag hostile yung witness, pareho lang po ito sa cross-examination. Adverse parties allowed when the witness represents an opposing corporate or individual party. Then, pwede din po ang leading question, difficulty with the witness, allowed for children, uneducated individuals, or those with trouble communicating. Pwede ang leading question. Then, introductory matters, allowed for background facts only that are not disputed. Background facts only. Okay, ito yung mga panahon na pwede yung leading questions na i-present sa korte. Okay? Punta naman tayo sa tinatawag nating misleading questions. Okay? Kanina leading. Ito misleading naman. Leading, nagsasuggest siya ng answer. Ito, nag-a-assume siya as true a fact not yet testified to by the witness or that is contrary to what the witness has previously stated. Leading question leads the witness to the answer. It suggests an answer to the answer. Like, isn't it true that Jose was wearing a red shirt when the crime happened? It suggests that Jose was really wearing a red shirt. Pero ang misleading question, nag-mislead siya. Ibig sabihin nag-mislead, kino-confuse niya yung witness by misstating facts. Nag-i-introduce siya ng facts na hindi naman totoo. Nag-i-introduce siya ng certain statements na hindi naman totoo. Okay? For example, when the robber fired 3 shots inside the bank, where were you standing? So, ito, nag-a-assume na siya automatically that the robber fired 3 shots. When reality, hindi po. Wala pa. So, again, misleading po siya. Or another example, do you agree with me that the Vice President is corrupt? That's already a misleading question. Okay? Hindi pa nga na-establish that he is corrupt, but you are already saying, do you agree with me that the Vice President was corrupt? It's a misleading question and that is not allowed. Hindi po allowed ang misleading whether it is direct, cross-examination, redirect, or recross. Bawal na bawal po siya in any proceeding. Pero pag leading question, again, bawal lang po ang leading question pag bawal lang po ang leading question pag direct examination or redirect examination. There are instances again that leading question pwede siya. Again, as I have stated, cross, hostile, adverse parties, difficulty, and introductory matters. Pero pag misleading questions, bawal na bawal po in all proceedings. Okay. Next. Balik tayo sa sufficiency of evidence. Okay? Sufficiency of evidence would refer to adequacy or completeness of evidence to satisfy the quantum of proof. That's very easy to understand. Adequacy or completeness of evidence. Sufficiency of evidence, balik na naman tayo uli mga kadete, preponderance of evidence. Okay, ano yung preponderance? Ito yung which evidence has more weight, more credibility compared to the other. The court will consider the following for preponderance: all the facts and circumstances of the case, The witness's manner of testifying, intelligence ng witness, means an opportunity of knowing the facts to which they are testifying. Dapat alam nila ha. The nature of the facts to which they testify, probability or improbability of their testimony, interest or want of interest, also their personal credibility so far as the same may legitimately appear upon trial. Legitimate witness ba sila? The court may also consider the number of witnesses true, though the preponderance is not necessarily with greater number. Okay? Number of witnesses will affect, pero hindi siya talagang only ground to prove preponderance of evidence. Okay? Pero the more witnesses, the merrier. That can prove a particular fact. Okay? For substantial evidence naman, in cases filed before administrative or quasi-judicial agencies, a fact may be deemed established if there is an amount of relevant evidence which a reasonable mind might accept as adequate to justify a conclusion. Ibig sabihin, again, substantial evidence, adequacy or sufficiency of evidence. For proof beyond reasonable doubt, ano ang kailanganin dito? Again, moral certainty ha. Ito, moral certainty ang kailanganin po. When you say moral certainty, again, as I have stated a while ago, hindi ibig sabihin na 100% absolute certainty. Ibig sabihin again, ito po'y ebidensya na convincing for a reasonable and unbiased person to believe that the accused is really guilty. Okay? Factors to be considered by the court in determining the sufficiency of evidence. The court considers credible ba yung witness? Okay? Ano ibig sabihin ng credible? Credible ba siya? Kapani-paniwala ba? Pag ang isang suspect, nagre-recant siya, wala na yung credibility. Paiba-iba yung statement niya, wala na yung credibility. Relevance or related ba yung evidence to the issue? Admissibility under the rules of evidence. Again, balik tayo ha. May dalawang criterion tayo na general criterion in admissibility of evidence. Una, relevance. Pangalawa, competence. Relevance, related sa case. Competence, it is not excluded by the rule of law. Kindly review episode 1. Nasa episode 1 yan. Consistency of the testimony and exhibits. Corroboration by other evidence. Ibig sabihin ng corroboration, ito'y tumutukoy sa corroborative evidence. Ano yung corroborative evidence? Another evidence that supports another evidence. Okay? Another evidence that supports another. For example, let us say, CCTV footage reflecting Pedro stole the money. Pero yung CCTV footage, pixelated siya, so hindi klaro. So, to support that it was really Pedro, to support the CCTV footage, may fingerprint ka na na-recover. Ang fingerprint na na-recover on top of the drawer will function as a corroborative evidence. Plus, may testimony na nakita si Pedro going inside the office of the victim. The testimony can also be corroborative evidence that will support the CCTV footage that it was really Pedro who committed the crime. Next, and the last, probative value or the ability of the evidence to prove facts in issue. Yun po ang factors considered by the court. To God be the glory na. Ayun na pala ang last na slide. Mga kadete, I hope I was able to contribute in your preparation of the board examination. Preparation for the board exam, which will become your ticket in your application in any law enforcement agencies in the government. Maraming salamat po sa pagtangkilik sa Bikoy na sa lahat po ng mga baguhan dyan. Kindly share our post. Paki-like na din po, paki-subscribe na din po sa channel. Libre po ang discussions natin dito except sa final coaching. Okay? So you can utilize, actually mga kadete, pag nasa stage kayo ngayon ng review, hindi na po kailanganing mag-i-enroll kayo ng mga mamahaling review center. Ang mamahal ng mga review center. I tell you, pag may Bikoyno video discussions po kayo at saka Bikoyno book, okay na po yun. Goods na po yun sa pag-prepare nyo po sa board examination. Why do you have to pay for 15,000, 18,000 for your review season? Kung meron namang libre dito sa YouTube. Pareho lang naman ang discussions natin. Napaka-align po ang discussion ko po sa table of specification. Maraming salamat sa lahat. God bless everyone. Huwag kalimutan, tiwala sa Diyos, tiwala sa sarili.